Welcome to Private Banking Strategies Podcast with Vance, Lowe, and Seth Hicks, your secret weapon to protect your assets and never have to start over financially again. Vance and Seth help high net worth individuals, families, business owners, and investors structure an asset-protected, tax-free fortress for their families. Learn how to keep what you earn and use the velocity of money to create your own private banking system. Join us on this journey as we explore the secret strategies of the rich and political elite and help you take total control of your financial security. Now, on to the show.
Welcome to Private Banking Strategies Podcast with Vance, Lowe, and Seth Hicks. Vance, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Just anxious to talk to our people.
Fantastic. Well, we got a cool topic and one that's probably one of the favorite topics, one of the primary motivations people come to us, asset protection with private banking strategies. That sounds interesting.
You know, Seth, I get questions so much as I deal with the clients on this end about how to protect what they're building up, especially the ones, our clients that get successful. They're accumulating money and assets. They want to start buying real estate and property and things like that. And now they've got the concern of, how do I protect stuff?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's wise when people realize no matter how much they make, that it's important to keep what you make. And you don't keep what you make unless you implement some of the banking strategies that we teach, such as getting the money back into your own bank and creating loan structures. That's one way that you keep what you make. But asset protection is an absolute cornerstone for private banking strategies and keeping what you make. I was absolutely floored when I learned that the whole life insurance contracts that we use as the cornerstone of private banking strategies actually are totally asset protected in many states. Did you know that when you got into this?
Yeah, actually I did. That's one of the first things you kind of learn in life insurance contract law. As an agent, we're not quite attorneys, but we have to know that stuff.
Let me pause for a second because I want our audience to get a laugh. I am an attorney, as you know, Vance, and I spent nearly 20 some odd years in practice in transactional work and also litigation and business formation, structural services, and I didn't know life insurance contracts provided an absolute firewall, an absolute bulletproof fortress and vault for cash assets in many states. And until I was litigating on behalf of a client, advising them as the case may be, and one of the developers that they had paid a whole bunch of money to in Texas, and the development went belly up and investors didn't get their money back. Well, he had all of his cash in a life insurance policy. And so it was effectively, you can't touch it. And that's by Texas law. So in Texas and in many other states, they have laws on the books which 100% protect the cash in your life insurance contracts. Can you believe that?
I think that's beautiful. You know, we actually, I think, Seth, have done a podcast on the perfect investment. And that's one of the attributes of that. In this asset protection, a lot of people come with misconceptions. And I'm sure you deal with that all the time yourself. But just like we have so many errors when we think about money, I think, doesn't that happen with asset protection? A lot of people come and say, I need this type of trust, or I need this and that, and you find out they don't.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of times people have been given wrong advice or just under wrong impressions, or like in my case, I just wasn't familiar with the life insurance contracts protect cash assets. And so it's an absolute no-brainer to effectively get wise counsel, effective counsel that can debunk some of the myths and actually puts plans and strategies in place for people that work. So let me give you an example. A lot of times people come, they think they're in need of asset protection for whatever reason. They're very wealthy, they're ultra wealthy, or they want to keep what they make. And they think they've got to set up some expensive structures like offshore trusts and offshore type of banking where you transfer title to your assets into a trust, which some institutional fiduciary is a trustee, and they charge you $50,000 to set them up, and $10,000 to $15,000 a year in annual maintenance, and it's just absolutely unnecessary. And when you've got private banking strategies, contracts like we have, and some of the other tools that we're going to talk about, you just don't need those expensive options. That's one of the myths that people come to me with.
We say a lot of time in the private banking strategy, we can literally create vault for assets and money. Refresh us. Again, folks, most of the time, we're taking more of a deeper dive, I think, today. In some of the other podcasts we've done, we've talked about some life insurance law provisions that literally guarantee that when we use these type of contracts and when they're set up correctly, it's like creating a bank vault that nobody can get into. So I think there's a section law out there that help protect those assets.
Internal Revenue Code 7702 governs the tax application for the policies. And that's another way that it acts as a vault, is because the insurance companies don't have to disclose what money comes in and what money goes out in most contexts with the way we structure the policies. And that's all pursuant to Internal Revenue Code 7702. So that makes it just an added attribute of the asset protection features that it has.
Does that restrict the client from accessing his money?
No, of course not. Yeah, we both know and understand that it's entirely liquid. And so it's pretty much just giving the life insurance company instruction of where to send funds. It bears worth mentioning that that is completely the opposite of investing your money into 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, and any other type of government-sponsored investment fraud, effectively, because they're going to tax your money before it comes in. They're going to tax your money while it's in and growing, and they're going to tax the distribution. And the difference right now is that you don't know what that tax rate is going to be. But with a $36 trillion national debt and growing, it's only going to increase taxation unless there's other policy that's implemented.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I just think that there's such an opportunity to be able to leverage oneself. Our nation went from nothing to the most powerful country on the planet in virtually 100 years. And I believe it's from this strategy that we're trying to bring back, that we're trying to teach people, the private banking strategy. We didn't have banks during that entire time. It wasn't until after the 1900s that things started getting complicated and our power and influence in the world really started to decline. And we're not in as good a shape today as we'd like to be. I just don't know how bad we are as a nation now.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of people's concerns, and that's one of the reasons people look for solutions that we offer. And that's how a lot of people find us. A lot of our clients refer out to similarly minded people who have the same type of values that we do, constitutional values, values in true patriotism. The contract that these life insurance companies offer has really revolutionized so many people's lives just with the values and the features that they bring.
I agree. Today, it's like a miracle. Our clients feel like, wow, you can really do that. See, but before, it was a mainstay. We didn't have banks. So where can you store your money? Where can you put it to work and beat inflation and still have access to it? And the other thing you said a little earlier, I wanted to touch about, I didn't really appreciate as a money manager until I switched over to helping and living your own banking strategy. And that is the secret of who is actually using the money. I thought as a money manager that, yes, your money is invested when we've given it to mutual fund companies and stock portfolios. We run all those. I guess I had more control of the outcome of what we could get than the client themselves because they assigned us to do that. But even so, I couldn't control fund managers. And he who has the money makes the lion's share of the returns. They use our money to make money, and then they pay us an interest rate or a growth rate minus after all of their expenses and their own profits. So it's only what they can get away with. So this is something that, and this is what really keeps me coming back to helping people, is that when people all of a sudden understand that and they see, wow, if I keep control of the money, if I put it to work, I'm going to see this reward. And I'm not only going to see the profits, but I get the money back and I can reuse it. So, by all means, we have to protect this process. And as one of these pillars that we talk about, we have to set it up. We want more privacy, and we don't want to have to pay taxes on things that we're using, especially if we're using after tax money.
That's exactly right. I'm encouraged by some of the policies of the new administration, which I feel like are going to help people take back more of the money that they make and continue to grow that wealth. And so I'm hoping we can reach as many people as possible with what we do, and those who resonate with it will continue to take back their financial freedom, because that's what this is, effectively.
Did that story feel like it was about you? Do you feel like you are generating a lot of revenue but are not moving forward as fast as you would like? Do you feel you should be making more progress toward your financial goals? Do you feel stuck? Let us help you get unstuck. Are you ready to take action and get your own private bank? Please visit us at www.privatebankingstrategies.com.
I think as they organize, they get things built or put together. Number one, they see how easy it is. Most people can set up the whole strategy without any cost pretty much whatsoever. And then they need to protect it. And then they turn around and they like it so much, they want their kids, their family, and their close friends to do it. And it becomes a little bit difficult for them on the fact that I'm doing it, but I don't know how to explain it. When they say anything, people think, gosh, you're crazy. You're from outer space. You must be an alien or something, because our minds are totally reborn, so to speak, into how money really works. No, this is what money is, and here's how you have to treat it. And everybody looks at you like, no, you can't do it that way. Herd mentality runs deep.
It does. Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons that we chose to write the book that we did, How to Grow Rich with the Secrets Banks Don't Want You to Know, which we offer on our website, folks. You can just go onto the website, put your email in, and this book that I'm referencing will be available to you by audio or in written format. But that book highlights a number of these issues and aha moments and light bulb moments. And that's why we call it a red pill book. It's like Neo in the Matrix taking the red pill and having his eyes open to reality. So it's a great starter for people really realizing how much control the government and particularly banking has taken from the people. And one of the ways that people can take it back is by implementing private banking strategies through a properly structured whole life insurance contract. And the values that it brings will be immediately seen.
I think you're right. I think we put together a list of people could kind of look at. They may not be familiar with the private banking strategy yet. It might not be up and running, but they've heard about asset protection because you have such a sweet way of setting things up that is unique. I've dealt with attorneys and estate planning, asset planning, and asset preservation my entire life, over 40 years professional practice. It doesn't even come close to what you actually set up for me. I'm a guy that kind of likes to put my money where my mouth is, and I don't like to recommend something that I'm personally not doing. So I do have asset protection, and I feel very good about it. And it seems to me so solid. We've got a little list that the asset strategy, I think it went like asset strategy is not for you if. What are those ifs?
Okay, private banking strategies and the tools we implement, and what we're accomplishing, it's not for you if you think that the stock market is totally safe and it's always going to go up and to the right. How about that one for size?
There's one. A lot of people are in the market because they think that's the place to be.
I have numerous friends and clients, wealthy and ultra wealthy, some doctors, some lawyers, and they're doing their thing that makes them their money. And they've got these big stock portfolios with people who manage their money, whether it's in you name it, any Credit Suisse or Merrill Lynch or Edward Jones or any of those financial management companies. And they're like, oh, I just give it to this guy and it just let him deal with it. They don't even really know. They just think the stock market is fine and it's just going to keep going up, or they're not going to lose all their money. And to me, if you can't actually reasonably consider alternatives to that and go, maybe this isn't, and that there are better options, then it's not for you.
You're talking to somebody who managed $1 million portfolios and up in the stock market, thinking that that was the best place for you to get ahead. We prided ourselves back then on growing money, not losing money for the client, and we're very successful until, what was it, 2008? My partner was getting a little more bold and suggested we try a few more investments that I didn't like, and they did come back and bite us, but I didn't know about the private banking. And that's what they'll discover in that red pill book you were mentioning. It goes back and explains a little bit of how I got introduced to this. And you know, Seth, I keep saying that today, you know, I'm a little bit older, but I still feel a little like a conscious incompetent, they say. I know I don't know everything, but I'm learning and I'm having fun doing it. And my clients teach me so much. And again, they were the ones that actually introduced us to this concept and asked us to check it out. And that's what I used to do, is all the due diligence for everything. So there's a lot of things that people go, if you enjoy paying taxes, it's not for you. Okay. If not learning something new and staying the way you are, fine. If you're not teachable, fine. Then this strategy's not for you. And we're saying this as a reverse psychology, in essence, that I don't think we can ever stop learning. If we stop learning, we start losing ground. And I think that education and learning something and agreeing that we don't know everything and what we do know, is it correct? Or have we taken that information and skewed it a little bit and we think we know?
Well, I was thinking about this as you said, you brought up the issue of taxes. And I thought, I watched a post and a little snippet from President Trump, and he said that he was going to create the External Revenue Service, which imposed higher tariffs and taxations on other countries, and that he's going to implement some America First type policies and potentially even heading the IRS. I don't know about the people listening, but that actually got me excited. And so if you're out there and you're going, that sounds like right-wing nutology, then private banking strategies isn't for you. And it's not reverse psychology. It's probably more accustomed to just common sense. Common sense.
Well, Seth, I think our country and the philosophy is just unrealistic. People feel entitled from birth. People carry prejudices all the way throughout their life for things that don't exist now. And I think it's important. I think we have a breath of fresh air with Trump. He has said some things that I think are refreshing to get America back to a republic. Did you know that President Trump did not swear the oath on the Bible? He swore the oath to the Republic of America. It's the citizens of America who are responsible to keep government from being corrupt.
You mentioned some great points. And one of the other types of persons that I think don't fit with private banking strategies and what we teach and provide is if you don't have a value for money, Vance. And something struck me the other day. My kids were watching these YouTube series, and one particularly called Mr. Beast, which apparently has tens of millions of subscribers, and he does all sorts of, clickbaity type stuff. But one of the things I noticed is that he totally destroys valuable things in all sorts of ways just to get views. And so each one of his videos makes him a tremendous amount of money. But a lot of times he will, do things that are reckless. And I see that with a lot of YouTubers, that they're like, here's what a $5,000 meal looks like, because they're going to make it in their monetization. People click on it. And I think you don't really value money or what's coming under your control like you should. Money is a tool. It's like a weapon. It can be used to influence. It can be used to fortify. It can be used to do many things. But just destroying things, that's not what money should be used for. You need to put your money into things that do something valuable for our society and culture. So if you don't value money, then this isn't for you.
The cash that we obtain, that we start accumulating, the assets we start accumulating are in an asset protected vault. Once you've got this protection set up, you need to find out more about it. It's rock solid. I don't think you've ever had anybody penetrate through it, and it never loses value. It stays pace with inflation. We always are moving forward. We're never moving backwards.
Right. It's always multiplying in a tax-free compounding nature and fully liquid. And behind the laws that we've mentioned, there's no other tool out there that does what it does. Our asset protection deep dive will probably run over multiple podcasts. So folks, just search for the asset protection hashtag to find the ones that discuss this topic. But if you want to learn more about us right now, go to www.privatebankingstrategies.com. privatebankingstrategies.com, and the book that I mentioned, How to Grow Rich with the Secrets That Banks Don't Want You to Know, is going to be available to you. You put in your name and email, and that book becomes immediately available by audio or written PDF, and you can listen to it on the go or read it. And if that resonates with you and this podcast resonates with you, you'll have an opportunity with the emails that we send you to schedule an exploratory call with Vance. And ultimately, he will apply this to your particular circumstances, your finances, and provide in later planning successions with you an 8-year roadmap that tells you exactly how to implement this, what to do, who to pay, how to pay, who pays first, how to get the money back, and teaches you how to do this. And that's one thing that a lot of people in the private banking world don't do, is they don't actually teach you how to implement the disciplines and structures necessary to succeed with this. We have people coming to us all the time from other folks out there that they don't know how to do what we do. So, Vance, any closing remarks?
You hit it on the head. So do yourself a favor, find out more, learn something new, go to the website, take the next step, find out what money really can do for you if you really understand how it works.
Thanks, folks. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Did that story feel like it was about you? Do you feel you should be making more progress toward your financial goals? Do you feel stuck? Let us help you get unstuck. Are you ready to take action and get your own private bank? Please visit us at www.privatebankingstrategies.com.
Thank you for listening to the Private Banking Strategies Podcast. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available.